It's Monday night, 9 p.m., otherwise known as CST time. Welcome into the main show, CSTers, and welcome in all you podcast listeners that waited out. I hear 9 p.m. is actually bedtime for some of you, so if you are over the age of 45, then we pardon you and bless this audio into your ears tomorrow morning. If you have a newborn, then I guess you're also excused. But if you are going to bed at 9 p.m. because you want to wake up fresh for work tomorrow or some other poor excuse, then excuse me, life isn't supposed to be that easy. You are an FCC fan. You have a high tolerance for heat, for fire, for, well, I guess we can just call it abuse. What is hell anyway? I once heard there are 7 layers of it. If the first layer is Alan Koch leading us into Major League Soccer, the second layer must be signing Audi as our DP to lead the way. Let's give the third layer to winning our first wooden spoon. Fourth, hitting the reset button and bringing in Ranyans. Fifth, firing that same coach because of, well, reasons. There could be kids in someone's car. Come on now. Sixth, the second wooden spoon. And now, the seventh, let's just call 2021 season, the 7th layer of hell. If you know of any additional layers, then please shut your mouth. We are calling it over. We have hit rock bottom. There is nowhere to go but up, my friends, so I could declare victory and end the show right now, right here. But alas, I already had co-hosts show up tonight, and apparently they are telling me at some point they want to talk. So, of course, I am not going to let them do that just yet. If you have not heard the news, our founder and fearless leader for the past 6 years has entered early retirement. Those of us inside Cincinnati Soccer Talk have seen it coming, and lucky for us and for you, he isn't dumping this and running. We want CST to be exactly what you expect. So he is going to stick around a little bit behind the scenes to help with the transition. And in fact, the rumor is we'll be coming back for a farewell podcast someday soon. Along with his exit, Rod Pierce, our editor, is headed out as well. He works more behind the scenes, so if you don't know who he is, good. We tried to hide him from the world. But also, he made the website better than it probably should have been, and we will struggle to replace him. But CST has always been built on the backs of great Cincinnati soccer fans, and it will continue to operate as such. We wish them both the best on their next steps. And all of us here at CST can only hope to meet their level of work ethic and skill level. And we hope someday you will enjoy listening to us as much as you did them. Now, let's bring this show down a level. Bringing in my first co-host, I am pleased to be joined by Mr. Ken Edgar. Demand better. How you doing, Ken?
I'm doing well. I'm a little mad at Rob and Seubs. They left me on this boat with you guys. So I mean, what the heck am I? It's like being on a weird ship, and I'm going, what the heck's Boston and everybody going to be doing next? So no, just kidding. Anyways, I'm happy for them. Life happens, and good to be on the show again. I'm not gonna waste any more time trying to think of anything.
No, I agree. Really. It's been a fabulous 6-year run. Luckily, we still have a good member of the old cast, a good few members of the old cast, a good few members of the new cast, and of course, as always, looking for new talent to add at any given point. So, if you are interested, try your luck and enter the dark lair of CST. You can always reach out to us. And you might be just the person to replace my next co-host, Jeff. Welcome onto the show.
Let's pour one out for Seubs and Rob. Let's celebrate. I'm taking a shot now.
There we go.
The other reason that I bring up drinking a shot during a celebration. Funny story. I was watching the game at Mecklenburg Gardens, and if you're listening to the podcast, you know that we had a cracker of a first goal, a cracker of a second goal, and we had the lead. After that second goal, the bartender cracks out the shots.
Did he really?
He cracked out the shot. You don't celebrate. You drink shots after to celebrate or forget. I'm trying to drink to forget right now.
That's a jinx of all jinx. The bartender.
The
It's
bartender,
it's like calling a shutout, huh?
the bartender jinx is more prevalent than you know. You know, it always tends to happen when I am at the bar.
Well, we got to talk about it a little bit, and we will. Real quick, we'll go through our best and worsts of this week. So if you guys haven't figured it out yet, now's the time to do it. Then I'm going to give a Columbus Stadium review. And if you were there, if you were in Columbus, go ahead and put your comments down in the chat because we want to hear what you thought of lower.com field. And we're going to talk about some of these new FCC signings, reports, things that are floating out there. Ken, I want to hear a little bit, some stats from you. I want to talk about this goalkeeper situation. It's all the rage right now, especially with some of these moves. And then we're going to dig through a bunch of mini topics like we did last week and see if we can drum up some other cool stuff. But first, Jeff, I'm going to shoot to you first. Give me your best and worst of the week.
All right, this should be second nature right now. I always come up with the worst first, and then come up with the best, just so that we have something good to continue with. The worst, it's not being able to close the account again. This happens over and over again, where we get a lead somehow, and we just cannot bring in the substitution patterns that we need to hold down the fort. Having a lead for 15 minutes and then giving up both the lead and the win and the point really hurts. And we had all the opportunities in the world to shush Caleb Porter, and we just could not bring our fingers to our lips. The best, I think, has to be Ronald Matarrita. I glowing praise for him in this game. I felt it was his best game of the season. Which says a lot because he's going to be heading back to the Costa Rican team now. So, but he looked sharp. He looked connected. He had the most possession, I think, of everybody except for Acosta in that game. And he scored that great goal at the end of the first half. He did pretty good on defense. He came back and snuffed out a breakaway. I really think that this was his best game. I want to see more of it. Unfortunately, we just won't see it this weekend.
All right, Ken, you're up, man.
Yeah. In case anybody didn't catch that, Matarrita will be gone with the Costa Rican national team for World Cup qualifying. So yes, that's not a good one. But anyways, let's see. My best. I'll start with the best. As much of a struggle as a struggle as it's been to watch this team through the year, I love the fact that they are resilient and are able to come back. I mean, so going down a goal, last year it was like we go down a goal and we felt like there was never a chance. I didn't care if it was in the 5th minute or the 75th minute. We never felt like we could come back. With this team, there's hope and there's some talent to provide that. So I was happy to watch us come back. That doesn't go without saying. With my negative, we find different ways to lose every time. I swear, if this team was a video game, it's in that segment of, you go forward, you die. You go right, you die. You go left, you die. You go backwards, you die. We are going to find the way to lose a game. And how many different ways can this team lose? So it's just that feeling of we're not going to win. That's the negative feeling. The negative I have is I want to get rid of that taste in my mouth. And going into the stadium now, it feels like we don't have an opportunity to win really anymore. It just feels that way. I'm not saying it's true, just saying there's a point in time that it just gets to you. So my negative is I just going into the game sort of ambivalent and thinking not the best. So, and the realities come out.
Yeah, I like some of these best and worst we're getting online. Tom, who must have been down there, said the best is Hofferhaus. I can never say that word right. And worst, not closing out the match again. I've seen a lot of praises for Isaac Katanga as a best late game sub. I get it. FC Cincinnati has had problems making subs that are of any substance, and so that had to be encouraging for fans to see that. My personal best, exploring a new game day experience. I figured out that Columbus does things very differently than Cincinnati. I've been around the league. I've seen in Atlanta in an NFL type of environment. I've seen LA Galaxy in LA, and that was pretty unique. I've seen Cincinnati, as many of you have, in Nippert and now in West End Stadium. And so seeing Columbus was interesting because it is different. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. My worst, holy crap, is that place hot. And I know from any of the fans that have been around that went to that match and have already talked. I've seen some other reviews online. Holy, I can't even describe to you, listener, how hot it was in lower.com field, especially in that upper deck. The difference between the top and the bottom was over 15 degrees, easy. And there is no wind for a place that has so many holes in it. I mean, when you're inside the stadium, the first thing you notice, especially being an FC Cincinnati fan, is how many gaps there are in the stadium because they've chopped all the corners out. So you would think wind flow would be like 4 times what it is in TQL because there's 4 times as many holes. It is not. There is none. And there was wind because if you went outside, you felt it. I don't know why it is so hot. Black roof, maybe, but man alive, what a cooking experience.
I mean, I think Ken and I sort of came up with a new nickname for lower.com stadium over the break. We're going to start calling it the heating filament. That thing looks like a stovetop. I mean, I felt like, you could probably put a giant thing of popcorn on top and feed the entire stadium of fans there. It was good to see that it also sold out. I think it got up to the 20,000 people that the capacity is. So that felt good. It felt that the Derby was there. It just didn't get the results that they got when they came down to our stadium.
I definitely felt the Derby. I felt the rivalry. I was quoted before the game saying, I still think it lacks a lot of the Louisville. But I tell you what, being there and feeling that loss and watching that party hurts. It hurts. I think it hurts even more than those of you that sat at home and watched it on TV, and that hurt. Going up a goal, giving you hope hurt. But watching them party in your face, it hurts. And it's deservedly, and I hope in the next year or two, we dish it right back. And that is what creates a good rivalry. We need to be on the level where we can dish it right back to them. And we're going to talk just slightly more Columbus Stadium stuff real quick. Wanted to give an update. FC Cincinnati, we talked about it just for a second last week, did say season ticket gifts are finally on the way. About the same time, it's time to give you another season ticket gift. You will get last year's season ticket gift. So it is on the way. We did confirm that. If you are wondering where it is, well, just keep an eye on your mailbox.
It's Saturday. It's a victory.
It's the small things, Ken. The small things.
Well,
don't look at your tickets for hope. Look at your mailbox.
What do you want it to be other than a victory?
You know what I think? I'm going to guess. I don't know. I have no idea. But I think because of the time delay, it's the stadium sponsor. It is a mini TQL stadium model. That's what I'm calling it. I'll be disappointed if it's not a mini TQL stadium model since I've built that up in my head now.
Can they make it a bottle opener like where you flip it over and pop a bottle off?
So to remind you of the good times and the bad.
What did we get last time? We got whiskey glass, right?
We got a whiskey glass, and I think was that 2019 we got the whiskey glass?
Yeah.
Or was that 2018?
No, I don't know. There's like a 2-year gap because of COVID. So
right. We did get for the 2019, we got something of like a metal like a plaque.
You're right.
It's like a standing thing, and it's like, you know,
it's
MLS.
right behind me somewhere over there.
Yeah, I didn't think we got a glass, but I can't remember.
Last year was a glass. Last year was a bourbon glass, and then it was the throwing star.
Throwing star.
So yeah.
All right. Well, guys, I don't know if you heard the news, but we have just redone our entire support system. If you supported the show and all of a sudden we canceled your support and you were like, what the heck, guys? I feel so rejected. We are sorry. It isn't you. It's us. But our old system wasn't very user-friendly. Heaven forbid you wanted to break up with us. You had to email in. It was this whole thing. Now you can duck in and out at will, or as life changes for you. We are now on Patreon, and I know that word is scary. You're thinking Patreon, great. Now do I need to go pay attention to this other thing? No. It is just a donation system. We are not going to put some super secret exclusive articles or podcasts over there. CST has existed since before FCC kicked a ball in Nippert Stadium, and it has been free since before FCC kicked a ball in Nippert Stadium. And if you go back and listen to those shows, rightfully so, you'll want to gouge out your ears. We are fan ran and fan supported. So the few generous people that donate pay for it for everyone. Our move to Patreon has thus far cost us about 50% of our support, but it was necessary for the future. So we do want to give a special shout out for those that already signed up, though. Redley, John Davidson, Mike Hudson, Matthew Long, Robert Stevens, Laura Fowler, Matthew Adamchek, Buddy Taylor, Riley Stephen Burke, James Denbrough, Tom Newhouse, Brian Weigel, Brian Gillis, Dan Alberts, Will, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your name, Caltech, Ian Redroad, Rex Road, Augustus, and Bill Antinotis, and Carl Fight as of today. So we appreciate you guys for signing up with short notice. And if you are a former supporter of our show and you wonder why we dumped you, that is why.
Quick question. Does Augustus have a last name, or is he like Caesar?
you know, I will get to that. You're jumping the gun. It's not going to be on this episode, but
Augustus, we love you.
Yes, and his donation comes with a catch. So we will get to that later. CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. That's where you can go. But enough about us and enough about us trying to get into your wallets. Let's talk Columbus Crew Stadium.
All right. I mean, you were the only one that of the three of us that were there.
That's right.
I mean, you told us about how hot it was. You told us about the game day experience, but I mean, can you give us a little bit extra? Like, what were the amenities like there?
All right. So I did not experience the food firsthand, but I did walk around and see what they had. It's very similar to what we have. They don't have the skylines and the frishes and those type of things, but they have what you would expect from any other stadium. They have, like how we have a generic barbecue joint in TQL, they have a generic barbecue joint, and several things like that. The one thing I was a little surprised by was the beer options. TQL blows Columbus out of the water with beer options. I did see one fan say that they were happy they found Guinness, and I guess our stadium doesn't have that. So if you are a Guinness drinker, Columbus is the team for you. Otherwise, you probably want to stick to Cincinnati, because craft options were one Columbus brand. What's the really famous one?
Is it Platform?
No, it's not Platform.
Really? Wow.
Brewdog?
No. Shoot, I don't know why it's slipping my brain. They've been associated with Columbus for a while. And then the only other craft option I could find, and this was after a bit of searching, Rheingeist, Cincy made, right there on the handle in lower.com. That cracked me up, and I bought a Rheingeist to support those guys. So Rheingeist was actually a sponsor of Columbus before FC Cincinnati, so that one's not surprising either. But it is kind of humorous now looking back. Otherwise, your options are a lot of Corona, White Claw, Modelo, and that's about it. I didn't even see Summer Shanty, which we have. So the generics, I feel like the generics and the craft beer were both on the lacking side.
How was the pretzel though?
That has to be better than Cincinnati.
I feel like
to be better than
when
Cincinnati.
CST members travel to away games, we got to do a Barstool Sports type of pretzel review with cheese.
B. Cutson on YouTube said, "It's small. Their Tfue rigging was janky, and you couldn't hear them sing their forced songs." I feel like there's a little fan bias in that, maybe on the forced songs part. But no, he's not wrong. The stadium is much smaller. You can feel the size difference between the two stadiums. However, the concourses are kind of similar. Columbus has a little bit better egress and ingress, and I think it's because of that 6,000 gap.
Okay. Yeah, a little bit more room.
Yeah, if you can picture that both places get tight in certain spots, but Columbus just has less people to deal with in general. So I give them the edge on ingress and egress, but I think Cincinnati isn't managing that perfectly yet. So that could, balance out down the road. Their rigging system is terrible. That is 2 games in a row they have botched their TIFOs. They clearly do not have it together yet. FC Cincinnati fans are 1 for 1 in TIFO raising. So good for them and good for our rigging system. I'm not sure how much of that is set up and how much of that is the system, but I'll give you that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear listeners sort of give their Yelp reviews of the stadium if they can. 1 through 5, like how many stars would you give it?
There you go. David Kirstein said, "Put up quickly, not a bad stadium. Location a little off right now. They need bars around." Thanks, David, on Facebook. I would agree with that. It's kind of Nippertish in that you have to walk a bit more than you do at TQL to find stuff. There is stuff around the stadium. I was at, it's all new though. It's not like our OTR historic, feel. It's more like new built up buildings, a lot of Cincinnati restaurants, Bakersfield, a lot of Thunderdome restaurant stuff, not all that newer style restaurants that are kind of in that district. But yeah, you're going to walk a good 3/4 of a mile to a mile to go to those things.
So the one thing I could notice, at least from at home, I watched from home, that pitch was less than appealing. Costa Rica is going to be playing the U.S. men's national team, and that feels like a Costa Rican type pitch where it's a little bit bumpy and all over the place. So, what was the look of the pitch at the stadium, Boston?
I did not get the greatest look. I did watch some of the TV stuff afterwards, and I agree with you. You could see on the sides, like on the sidelines, how bad it was, but I couldn't tell center pitch. It just looked like grass from where I was sitting on the second deck.
There were at least 2 cases in that game where the sod came up. I mean, you could see physically a big chunk, and that reminded me quite a bit of Nippert right there.
Yeah, I think that's one where you guys have the advantage watching it on TV close up. Augustin said, "The noise and the music in the stadium was much higher than TQL." Dude, you're dead on. The Columbus environment they've got it figured out as far as the game day experience. I'm not sure if that's because they've got a 16-year head start on FC Cincinnati, but they know when to get the entire stadium into a corner kick or into a free kick. And they do this. One of the things I noticed is they utilize the scoreboard to get each side of the stadium, the east stand, the north stand, the west stand, going in like a CREW, and it gets loud in there. They can get it loud in there, and they use a little bit of our artificial means to make that happen. So I know some fans want it all to be natural noise. Some fans don't mind a little bit of an oomph. But I will say, from start to finish, the extra fireworks, the more traditional things that they had going on, the tifos being up longer, the music being blasting a little bit louder, and then at the end of the game, I didn't know if the crew players were ever going to leave the pitch because they had to like do 3 songs with the fans. They had to all like stand next to the Nordeck and sway back and forth and do their wise man and all that jazz. Like the poor FC Cincinnati fans that were being held had to wait 10 years and watch Columbus Crew fans celebrate for half an hour before they could even leave the stadium. So they do have a lot going for them as far as the game day experience. I'll give them that. You ever been to a Reds game where it says like "Get loud, fans"? Like they do a lot of that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's probably
charge.
That's probably the most Cincinnati way I can explain it. All right, you guys got anything else on stadium reviews? Any questions?
No, we're good. Going to talk the game.
I mean, I think we're going to have to.
Or do you want to avoid that, Boston? Boston drinks.
Oh my word! Yeah, I appreciate you filling in the dead silence while I drink there. Ken, give me your version of a recap of this game. How did it go in your mind? Like where was your hope built up at, and where did it all fade away?
Well, first of all, you're putting too much into it. Hope. I had some hope going into it, like waiting for the inevitable, and
we go up 2-1. You got off your couch.
Wait, so
your butt got to the edge of that seat.
Let's talk. The first 15 minutes of the game, we were getting our 10 to 15 minutes of the game, we were getting our butts handed to us. Columbus, had 2 shots off our the crossbar and the post. So I mean, we were definitely getting worked over a little bit. However, this is where I can see growth. The team found its way back into the game, and it started to take over for about 20 minutes. And I say take over. It established itself, controlling the game. It was 50-50 at that point. And then now I can't remember who gave up the bad foul, but was it Cruz or was it?
I think it was Hags. Cruz did one, and then there was Hags who did the second one.
Okay. Hagelin, gave up the second foul right outside the box to Lucas Zellaron, and you can't give him a second chance. That was his second free kick from literally about the same distance. I mean, they're probably 5 yards distant.
When will we learn?
And he buried it, and by nobody else's fault other than a bad foul. Just to be honest. And at that point in time, Boston, as you say, where's your hope built up? Where at that point, this is where I sit there as a FCC fan and go, it's over. We ain't doing anything. And what happens? By God, Matarrita takes a ball off of a corner that comes flying out and laces it. I mean, same as Castillo in the first game that we played him, and puts it right in the back of the net. Both those goals are like 2 minutes apart in the 45th minute. So that's kind of the odd aspect. And you go into halftime and you're like, we're kind of in this. And, like you said, the second half plays out and it's 50-50, really from both ends of the field. And Isaac Katanga buries a shot from the right wing. I want to emphasize, because this is one thing I pointed out on social media is I'm like, by God, that guy's a right winger, and we've been playing him inverted on the left wing. You put him on the right wing, and he freaking buries a shot from playing that position. I'm not saying it's the only the reason he buried it, but he buries it playing the position he's supposed to play. And as Jeff's bartender thought at the same point in time, I'm ready to pour some drinks. I'm like, oh my God, it's the 78th minute or whatever it was, and we're going to win this game.
I turned around to the fans behind us and I said, 10 minutes. All we have to do is finally hold on for 10 minutes.
We know better. We need less than 55 seconds on the clock for us to guarantee victory. And then Vermeer happened. I'm just going to say that, I'm not trying to hate on the guy, but a shot comes in and it's a shot that he should have just caught. And it hits his chest like a bad wide receiver in the NFL. You don't let the ball come and hit you in the chest. You catch the ball with your hands, and he let it hit his chest, bounced out. Miguel buries the rebound, and we're lost. I mean, I think we're deflated. The team's deflated, and they float in another pass that he pings up. He should have done better with, and back in the net again by Miguel Berry. So that's and we walk away disappointed.
That third goal was a little fluky in terms of it. Vermeer got a hand on it. It went off of Viacia, and then it sort of like it bumped off of Berry to get into the goal. But he was right where he needed to be. He learned from the success of the last goal, and he was there to clean it up. The thing that's amazing about Berry is that he's only appeared in 6 games for the Crew. He's got 3 goals. All 3 of them are against us. He scored that equalizer against us at home, and then he scored the equalizer in the game winner in this case. It's just a matter of, they were given a lot of credit to Vermeer for being there for these deep shots that were parried away or were stuffed, and then he was able to pick it up because there was nobody there. But I think that was also because you didn't have someone young to clean up sort of the messes there. You were depending on Bradley Wright Phillips to sort of be your replacement for Jerzy Sardes. And when they brought Berry in, you could see he was younger, he was fitter, he was ready, faster, ready to pick up things on the dinner plate there. And that's how they beat us. They just hammered shots at the goal, and they saw that Vermeer was spilling a few, and they put somebody there to clean it up twice.
Well, since we're talking the game, let's talk a couple problems. Caleb Vogel brings up a good point. In all seriousness, it is time to question Lucho as a captain of this squad. Sure, he's a technical wizard, but his attitude towards the game and effort off the ball is atrocious. In this game, I think we saw, guys, some two points where he tried to dribble, like beyond dribble, like at one of them dribble into the net from the side. Clearly I do not trust anyone. I am doing this all myself, and I guess I'm walking the ball into the goal. Has Lucho given up on the team as the captain?
No, I don't think he's given up on the team as captain, but as Caleb points out, I don't necessarily think he should be the captain. If he is, I would, if I'm putting the captain's armband on anybody, there's 2 people I choose from, and it's Jeff Cameron and Moderita. I mean, those are the 2 guys that I sit there and they have different leadership skills. But back to Lucho. I think, and I say everybody, I think a lot of us see the same thing. Lucho does great. And I pointed this out, I think, on, a social media platform. Lucho is the exact guy we want when we are playing out of the back. When our defenders have the ball and he gets the ball, at the 40-yard line, I'm going to use that, that area of the pitch, close to midfield. He's the guy that can dribble out of 3 guys on him because there's usually a lot of space. But at the same point in time, Lucho has the ball and he's in the final third on our offensive side. He dribbles into triple teams, and he needs to learn to trust his teammates. Now, a lot of people say there's not a lot going on, or, he doesn't have options. I don't necessarily agree with that. If he doesn't have options, he needs to pull it back out and needs to retain possession. So I'm just saying there is a balance. Now, I don't think Lucho has enough help either. So I don't think it's all on Lucho. I think, again, this team is incomplete. We all know that. There are players. Atonga's a nice player. I think Atonga's a great sub. I don't know if he's quite starter material yet. I think we should start him to see. But, we need to find some more pieces to surround Lucho. He's not the 10 like Carlos Heel and them. That's going to change everything from breaking lines. I don't think he's that guy. I do think he has potential, though. So I've probably talked way too much.
I mean, I think I will agree that Acosta's not the captain for this. But that's because of my own personal biases in terms of what a captain really should be. I am a more of the philosophy where if you're the number 10 or the number 9, you're there to create, you're there to push the ball forward and score. I feel that the captain's role should be somebody in the back who can see the entire field, who can sort of point things out, can sort of dictate things from the perspective of a king or a queen on the chessboard. Where, I think I would like to see Ronald Monterita get the captain's band more often. I think he could be more of a leadership role. Jeff Cameron, maybe so. I really think it's someone who should be able to see the pitch from their position from the back instead of somebody who's in the middle of the field.
Dude, I muted myself there, boys. That's my first amateur move right there. But I have a couple things I want to get to. So I'm going to cut off the talking of Lucho Costa, because I think at the end of the day, it's going to be hard to, I don't see him getting out of his spot as a DP. He's going to be here a while. Maybe we move captains, and at the end of the day, I just don't see if that's the main problem with this team. He dribbles too much. He dribbles. I loved your point about the final third. If he would dribble in the half, and then when he gets to the final third, stop. And every once in a while, that's fine. Every once in a while, you're going to catch somebody off guard, and you'll open up your own shot. But otherwise, play the distributor there. I like that a lot. The main question people are asking after this game is, what in the world is FC Cincinnati going to do about the goalkeeper position? We've tried Kenneth Vermeer. We've tried Titi. We went back to Vermeer. We went back to Titi. We went back to Vermeer. And in this game, he did not do himself any favors. Fans have been split into two sides of which goalkeeper they want. Is there a third option, Jeff? And where'd you take it?
I say right now, what have you got to lose? Vermeer, he doesn't smother the ball as well as he really should. I mean, they keep talking about distribution, and yeah, he's good with that. But you have to be multifaceted to really be a good goaltender in this league. TD, while I think he's good for his goal keeping, I think he's good at smothering the ball. I also don't feel he's much of an answer as well. We've tried him a few times. We've had him for 3 years, and it still feels like he's not quite the piece. We've also had another goalkeeper for 3 years. Why not try Ben Lunt? They brought him back off of his loan with Phoenix. Might as well give him a try. I mean, you also sent out Cody Cropper down to Memphis, so you gave him some room. I want to see what our third goalie is capable of doing. We gave Bobby Edwards a shot last year for one game. If Lunt flubs it, or if it's just not his role. I mean, what's another loss really for this team right now?
I fed it to you. I really wanted you to take it. I'm glad you did. But Ken, Ben Lunt. That's what I want to talk about.
Well, let's first, to get to Ben Lunt, let's first talk about Vermeer and Teton. I know we don't want to beat the dead horse, but they're kind of like Two-Face in the Spider-Man series, whatever. They're
Batman,
or Batman, not Spider-Man. Sorry. I'm not a comic guy, so forgive me. I'm sure I'll get roasted on that. Anyways, you put them both together, and there's a good half and a bad half, and what one's good at, the other one's weak at, and what the other one's good at, the other one's weak at. So you get half of a keeper out of either one of them. I think long term, and I'm going to say this right now, I'm just going to clarify what, in my opinion, what's going to happen is Teton's going to just go away next year. I think that's just done and dusted. We have no choice. Vermeer, his contract was reworked, and I just want to point this out to everybody. We are not going to be paying him $800,000 next year, which is what his contract was this year. They reworked it. I expect it to be around $300,000. Whole point is I think he comes back. And before anybody says we're going to buy him out, we got another player, Camo Makocho, which I think is going to be bought out. So I think Vermeer is on this team next year in the place of Teton on the senior roster. Back to Lunt. I agree completely with what Jeff just said. Give the kid a run out. Let's see what he's got. He had a bad preseason game from what we heard. I didn't see it, don't know anything about it. I just heard it. Heard that was what happened. One game doesn't make a player. People make mistakes, and I think that's and I've said this, that's one of Jaap Stam's issues is he holds grudges. He judges young players and players who are not in his cachet of favorites a lot more harshly, I think. Maybe it's justified. I don't know. I'm just saying, let's give Lund a run out, give him 2 or 3 games, and see what he can do. And if he flubs up in front of everybody in TQL, he can turn around and look at us and go, there you go. Whatever. I don't know. But I agree. We need to give Ben Lund a run out. He has a green card. Long term, these young keepers pan out in MLS. I don't care what people say. They pan out. I feel like Bobby Edwards got a bad rung. He didn't play 1 game, Jeff. He played 3. 2 games were good. The third one, he flubbed up a bad play. He's a young kid. Don't hold it against him. And I felt that was held against him, and he was released. So you got to establish value players. And I point this out because you've got to get value, and you've got to find players that contribute in those 21 through 30 spots. And keeper is an area which is a lot easier to find value in. That's all.
Yeah, the worst thing about the Bobby Edwards thing was that his goal was so bad. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Everybody knows what you're talking about.
I mean, you take a look at what Ben Lund has given you in the USL, and I know this is apples and oranges, but he was playing with a really good team as well. Phoenix Rising, I almost want to say, is like a very low-rung MLS squad. They've got a lot of talent there. He started 9 games for them, gave 4 clean sheets. Gave up, I think, 10 goals overall. That's pretty decent for someone who's being thrust in this position in a very hot environment. So I want to see more of that. If we're holding on to him for 3 years, I want to see what he can do.
Well, that's 1, 2, 3. I think it is an official and rare CST full agreement endorsement of starting Ben Lund. Jeff Birding, you've heard it here first. CST has endorsed Ben Lund as the official starter goalie of FC Cincinnati. And if it works out, we're going to, of course, run with this and take full credit. I'm going to clip this audio, saving this point in audio so that someday we'll be the heroes.
It's too bad this is digital. We can't burn the evidence if it doesn't work out.
That is also a chance, in which case no one ever bring this up again. So that brings another topic to my that brings another thing up in the conversation. We're talking about a point where FC Cincinnati is entering into the season where they are close to the bottom. They're not quite there. If you are Jeff Birding, Jaap Stam, Johan Demey, whoever's going to be running this team by the end of the year, avoid the wooden spoon. For the third time, avoid the third wooden spoon or play the kids. What's your priority? And this doesn't have to be a super long-winded answer. I just kind of want to know where you would go. I know where I would go, and I'll go last. So, Jeff, what's the priority?
Well, it's tough. You're giving us 2 choices where you're saying playing the kids or dodge the spoon.
Because if you are going to dodge the spoon Jaap Stam style, you're going to play in the same 11 you've been playing.
Okay, I guess that's a better way to put it, because it's hard to really say. You could play the same lineup that we had out there. We could still get the spoon. I want to see I want to see a little flaying of talent in there. The one big criticism I have with Jaap Stam ball is that he tends to only sub in 2 or 3 players. And maybe that's the way that he's been brought up. He wants to keep the team sort of playing the whole classic style of only having 3 subs. But you have fresh legs out there. You have youngsters who want to show what they can do. I want to see Archimedes come in maybe for the last 10 minutes of a game at home and see what that does to the crowd. I want to see what you can get with this play of a young, hungry lineup. If Calvin Harris does manage to come back off of his injury, I want to see him play a bit more too. We need to really get legs out there that can stand up. I think a lot of the reason why we're doing bad at the end of games is because we don't have the substitutions ready to go out there. He has to trust some of the kids.
I feel like that was half an answer. Like you went half on each side.
Play the kids. I'm saying play the kids.
All right, kid.
Total agreement. Play the kids. I don't care about the wooden spoon at this point. I mean, at this point, it's irrelevant to me, and I'm going to, we don't have many kids. We don't. That's so play the kids is kind of, even half-hearted because I don't look at even Calvin Harris as a kid per se, 21 years old. Viacia is 21. Tonga's 21 or 20, whatever. I mean, kids Archimedes is the only kid we truly have. So I just want to be very clear. Yes, I would love for us to go younger. I agree with Jeff. We need to rotate guys, play them with guys, not all of them at once. Play, one or two and allow them to be in with people who can put them in winning positions because then you can see things. Also, you got to remember there's a term that everybody hears when they're playing sports. He's a gamer. Some kids, some players just don't practice well, but they get in a game and they're a gamer. And maybe one of these kids are, even players, other players, they're a gamer. I don't know. I just want us to evaluate more talent at a much better rate than we have. As Jeff says, I don't want 2 subs. I want with 10 minutes to go. I'd like to see some 60-minute subs for a couple guys and 85-minute or 80-minute guy, 80th minute, bring in 2 more guys. I don't care. Let's cycle in some of these guys we haven't seen.
I'm with you there. That's exactly my point. In fact, I'm going to boil it down to like even just the smallest of goals because I'm not going to ask for the moon. I never get the moon. I'm going to just ask for a small asteroid hit the moon and flick a little piece of it down to Earth. Stop putting in Brandon Vasquez. Like we've seen it 100 times, maybe more like 16, but it feels like 100. You put him in, nothing happens. You put him in, nothing happens. You put him in, nothing happens. Like if you put him in next game, I already know nothing's going to happen. So why do we do it? What's the famous phrase that's overquoted over and over again? Something about doing the same thing over and over again. The definition of insanity is literally what we are doing. When you see Brandon Vasquez, that referee, hold that number up on the sideline, is there any hope whatsoever inside of you?
It's deflating to see that. Absolutely.
Every fan knows immediately. Everybody in the stadium knows, except for one person, the guy that made the decision, that is going to do nothing. And I wish it would. I wish I could count on Brandon Vasquez. And maybe it's a whole combination of events and not poor Brandon's fault, but it's just in this current environment not doing anything. So why would you not put in Ben Mines or any number of starters?
Maybe he needs a game where he is the starter. I mean, if I was constantly told, hey, you're starting on the bench, it's hard to really get yourself up to, I think where your potential could be. We've got a lot of these games where it's going to be Wednesday or Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. Let's have him start a game and do 60 minutes. See if he gets better as he gets a little tired out there, and then bring on Brenner for 30 minutes. I'm sure he could use a game where he's out there fresh and maybe he gives you 2 goals in 30 minutes.
I'm exactly with Jeff on this one because it's not only do I sit there, and I won't say not only, but it's not that I want Vasquez to start. I think Brenner needs to rest. He has not had time off since his season started. So this kid's 20. I don't even, is he 20 or 21 also? Is he a kid? I mean, play your kids, but he needs a break. And it's not just the break of like, you need a week. You need some fresher legs than the other team. And if everybody's playing Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, if he gets the Saturday game and then is off Wednesday and plays Saturday, he's fresher than the back line of the next team, that team. And he gets that advantage. And by God, maybe that plays into his mentality. And he's up on a guy or up on a team and scores some more. And all that's all you need is the break. And back to Brandon Vasquez. Maybe he works his way into the game. And Boston, just to counter your argument a little bit, because I do think Vasquez gets a little bit of a bad rap. He is the only other center forward we have. He is truly and he's the only only forward we have that is a hold-up forward.
Don't poke holes in my theory, Ken.
Since Locadia left. That was Locadia's other strength, was he was big enough body that he could play hold-up, have some hold-up play. So, Vasquez does provide some other aspects. So I know people do not like him. And I say do not like him, do not care for him to come in. A longer run out than 15 minutes. It's hard to get into a game in 15 minutes. That's why goals rarely are scored in the first 10 minutes. It takes a while for everybody to crack their legs, unless you're the opponent against us. They score rather frequently.
We score a lot of goals to start the game. Alan Cruz has gotten us some of those, and
hey, I'm just trying to lighten it up, Jeff. Come on, gotta make. So my whole point is giving him a little bit longer run out than 15 minutes. I think would be also a fair way to assess him, other than 15 minutes and saying, I see nothing. We see nothing. I see nothing.
All right.
Boston.
I was about to send you with Seubs and Rob into retirement, but I do see your point. I will accept starting Brandon Vasquez as a legitimate option, since that has not been done. Really. And so to give Brenner a rest, I'll give you that. But on the flip side, if I see him come again and again as a sub, I'm just going to lose my mind. I just can't take it anymore. Let's get to some of these new signings. Kyle Scott was reported by Laura Fowler. Yes, this is not the preseason. This is the same Kyle Scott from preseason, though. He is apparently coming back to FC Cincinnati, is already here. And FC Cincinnati is expected to sign him, but it is not a done deal. Fans were really excited about this midfielder in the preseason after he played against Chicago Fire, got rave reviews, including our own Jeff Tebbets. Jeff, you excited about Kyle Scott? You were back in the preseason.
I was back in the preseason. I mean, we did beat Chicago in that game, but it was good to see some performances off the bench. And once again, that's the thing we need. We need fresh legs. We need someone to come off the bench. We need, when Costa comes out of some of these games, you really don't have that number 10 anymore. And I'm not saying that Kyle Scott can be a number 10. I'm saying that he can play a central role, have those fresh legs, be a younger blood, more overseas experienced blood than some of the people out there. Let's give him a roll of the dice and see what we can get.
Yeah, I think he's a good profile, Boston. And what I mean by that is I think he's going to come in. Obviously, we don't know any cost. And by the way, I think you said he's not signed. I thought he was signed. We did sign him.
He's not announced.
Not announced yet.
He's not announced. Okay. That was just Laurel's thing. Then maybe I misread the quote.
She's pretty up on it.
Yeah.
He could be trialist right now.
Okay. But anyways, once he is signed, I'm going to make the assumption. And what I mean by profile, again, I don't think he's going to be a $400 to $500 or a $700,000 player. He's going to be a $300,000 player. He's an American designation. He's going to get solid minutes. Those are the kind of guys that you need to find at the back end of the roster to fill it up and produce. And he showed that he had the potential at least. And he comes from good pedigree. He was at Newcastle for a while, and I think he was he Chelsea too at one point, or was
Chelsea, and then Barcelona, Newcastle tried to sign him. He went with Newcastle for playing time.
Yeah, okay. I think he's a good signing, and he's a good fit, and he could play out to be a steal potentially.
Yeah, I think it's a good MLS grab. I like it. I'm not so sure about 2021 Kyle Scott, but I really like closing out 2021, seeing what we can see out of Kyle Scott, and then going into 2022. Other moves, It was reported by the Post that Clayton de Silver, I think just goes by Clayton, was a potential FC Cincinnati candidate. Laura Fowler shot that down today. So we are going to put that on the not talkable at the moment, unless something changes there. Cody Cropper, as you guys mentioned, loaned out to Memphis 901 FC. Ben Lunt brought back to Cincinnati from Phoenix Rising. Fiedelberg loaned out by FC Cincinnati. It's been a busy week. And probably the most hurtful thing at the moment, Matarrita headed to Costa Rica for international duty. But normally they take Alan Cruz, and they left him behind this time, so FC Cincinnati will benefit from that. Matarrita, man, that's kind of a blow. You're talking about our goal scorer right there, our goal-scoring defender.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a bigger loss than what people, and I say everybody knows he's a big loss. I don't have as much faith in Castillo. I think he can do a admirable job, but it's a huge loss on that left-hand side of the pitch. More so offensively than defensively. And I know Castillo made that rocket against Columbus. I'm just saying, I think over his span of 3 games, he had the one rocket and then struggled the other 2 games. And I say struggle, he wasn't great. He struggled. I definitely struggled against Nashville, if I recall. So I'm just saying it's a bigger loss than what I think most people will think.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I mean, you at least with the game that Castillo started, you had a João on the other side, so it was a little bit of speed on at least one of the wings. You don't really have it now that João's got a little bit of his own injury issues. The outsides are going to be pretty restrained, so you're going to have to play some sort of ultra fit defense to sort of make up for that.
I'm running low on time, so we're going to go hope or ope. You only get one word.
Yep.
Next 2 matches are Toronto, Miami. Ken, those are 2 terrible teams.
Hope.
Nice. All right, Jeff.
Hope.
All right.
I'm going to say the ope is Miami. They've been decent lately.
Okay. I'm going to give it a hope ope as well. I think Ken is. I like the 2-win optimistic. FC Cincinnati is doing okay if you consider the fact they scored 2 goals. Brenner has looked better as of late, and if we can get some substitutions, if we can get Kyle Scott in here in time, I like it. I like the chances. Kyle Scott will not be here in time, by the way, for the next game. But 6 points would do wonders for that wooden spoon race. And now, let's go ahead and talk about it. The 2021 Anthony J. Precourt Memorial Wooden Spoon points per game table. Toronto fell last week from 0.71 points per game to 0.68. They are still in the bottom. Their coach this week, by the way, said, we can't rule out the playoffs. So he's hopeful.
I think he's talking about the Canadian Championship, not the MLS.
FC Cincinnati also fell. They are in second place for the Wooden Spoon. Jaap Stam said after the game, you see, the plan we make is working very well because we are playing well. I think he means better, but that is Jaap Stam's opinion. Houston is in 3rd, and Austin is in 4th. Texas is still leading it up, but Dallas got a boost this week, so I don't know if the whole state of Texas is in our rear view mirror now. But there are still 2 of them.
Yep. I think we can jump Houston and Austin.
I would be glad.
Those are the 2 that we can, but we could also be spoon worthy too. So
if I had to put my money on it, I would say that FC Cincinnati does not win 3 in a row. I think I would have also said we wouldn't win 2 in a row, but we will not win 3 in a row.
This is the opportunity right now. They'll be playing this weekend. Toronto will not. So if they win against Miami, if they win over Toronto, that's basically 8 points ahead of Toronto with still 1 game in hand. I know I'm getting ahead of myself. You have to win the first game before you can win the second game. but there's an opportunity to distance yourself at least now.
There was a Reddit article, or at least a post by Andrew J281995. Hopefully we can like spin this out next week. We're out of time tonight, but spin it out next week or in an article format. Stay tuned, listeners. I want to talk about this, so we'll get it out there. There are a lot of players that are out of contract here coming at the end of the season. It might even be a little too soon to talk about this, but he put out an article like, who do you keep? Who do you save? Who's on your like mid-tier list and who are you cutting for sure? So we're going to table that, which is a bummer because I got Ken on the show. But I think that's the right thing to do for now. Final thoughts, Ken, as we try to get out of here? Now that I've told you what you can't talk about.
Yeah. I really don't have any final thoughts. I just want to see a victory. I honestly want to see a victory at home. And yeah, I want to see a victory in person. And I'm hoping that occurs this by the end of the season, but hopefully this weekend. This is, as Jeff was pointing out, July seemed to be like the moment in time in which the team could make a move to be in a playoff position. This September seems to be the month where we can be out of the wooden spoon position. And it's a bigger month from that regard, I think, at this point. And let's hope we have some positive results that get us more than 1 point. So that's my final thought. Keep up the ope.
Well, for someone who didn't have a final thought, Ken dived into a pretty decent one. Jeff, what is your final thought?
I'll expand on that. You're guaranteed to see a win in September. I guarantee you'll see a home win in September because the women's team is playing in September at TQL Stadium. It gets me to the point. I know we're talking about club, but I also have become a big fan of country. You're going to get to see the women's team play at TQL Stadium. And coming up in this next week, we're at the international break, even though we have a game, a club game this weekend. We also have the U.S. They're going to be playing on Thursday night against El Salvador, Sunday night at home at Nashville against Canada. And then they're going to be playing a Wednesday night game at Honduras. These are the big ones. These count. These matter. So we need to have full vocal support online. If you get a chance to go out to the pitch to watch it with AO Cincinnati, we need you full vocal there. Get yourself prepared because the game at TQL Stadium in November is going to count for a lot more.
My final thoughts after going to Columbus, seeing something that can be built after 20 plus years of being a fan of a soccer team, it kind of put into perspective for me that 3 years just really isn't that much time. We have a long future ahead of us, Cincinnati fans, and there will be more bad times and there will be some good times. I know the rainbow, you can't find it. You're looking around. Where is that stinking rainbow? But we will eventually find it and have some good times. And I think we will have some great celebrations at TQL Stadium. We just need to stay on the train long enough. And I do once again want to thank Rob and Seubs for everything they did for CST. And I am serious, and I know I joke around a lot, but I am serious in that they will be sorely missed. And we thank you, our listeners, for sticking around with us as we transition. And we hope you will keep us accountable. Make sure the show and CST stands for everything you expect it to stand for. And let us know if it's not. Feedback at Cincinnati Soccer Talk. How bad did we do tonight? Let us know. We have alcohol. We can take it. Thanks again. And as Seubs would say, watch your tackles.